My experience when I first started, it was I liked my job the first 5 years. After the first 5 years, I started not to like my job so much because of the management and passengers. Back then, we had plenty of coaches. We had plenty of overtime. You can write your own paycheck. Now we got regular equipment, pay scales down. Overtime is hard to get. The things that have changed since I've been here is the diminishing of DDOT funding from the federal government, dilapidated buses, um, things have gotten so bad that DOT couldn't get the funding to repair buses, so they would take parts off of old buses and put it on the running buses. Uniform changes, fare changes, which fare has went up quite a bit, and eliminated a lot of service because of the low ridership. Good thing we got a new terminal. We got a new terminal. Okay.
Well, I think when I first started, the passengers they weren't as hostile as they are now. 'Cause back then, I mean, they get on, speak, have a seat. Now they get on, they just look at you a lot of times, and then they have a seat. But other than that, it's pretty much the same.
The way we can make service better is we need more funding to purchase more buses because we're running at supposed to have 125 buses to run 100%. We're running at 80%. I mean, at 80 buses. So that means we got quite a few drivers in the terminal sitting, waiting on service.
I'm retired now, but I drove for 30 years. Well, as far as service, there's drastic change in the service that's provided and the attitude of public as far as transportation. About 8 to 12 minutes. Now, anywhere from 45 minutes to a couple hours. Route service, when I got first hired, it was quite a few runs. You probably had about 500 runs in a day, where now you may have 160 runs in a day. The majority of your major routes are going to be carrying standing loads during peak hours because of the cut in service. So you have less buses out there to carry the same amount of people. Politics was the major factor in the changes. In understanding how DOT has gotten to the point that it has gotten to now, as compared to what it was when I first came in 1983, and being a union official, sitting at meetings and understanding the politics as to what played into this whole deterioration of our transportation system here is remarkable, because we were talking about this back in the late 80s, early 90s, when we first told the department that they were killing this service by the process that they were doing and cutting service on certain lines. You was depleting the trust that the public had in your system, and you was also creating a lower economic base for your city, because transportation is viable to the economics of any city. A viable transportation system is very important to any regional area. We have gotten to the point now where we basically have to go into a regional system, not just city system, because the city cannot serve DOT. They can't carry DOT. You must go to a regional system for this whole system, this whole region to benefit economically. Everyone understands that. It's just that you can't get the politicians to understand and to do what's necessary.